Good evening and welcome to Mountain Bears. I'm Aeson and Of course, I'm sitting down with the techy-ish, the mostest, Techy Joe. How are you, darling?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you this evening?
Evil as normal, tired as normal.
I'm totally ready to get into election conversation, right?
No, I banned that from this network. I swear.
I couldn't resist. Like, guys, we won't be covering that. Just in case you're about to turn off, you're fine.
Yeah,
you're not getting that here. Do whatever you got to do.
Do whatever y'all guys get enough everywhere else. We're not giving it to you here. I would just say this. No one gets to decide my vote by who's in my bed. Not even someone that cannot tell fake tan from real tan and really needs new lipstick.
Hey,
there. I addressed the big commentary in the room.
Hey, there's that. No, so we decided to go over to Ask Gay Bros Over 30 for the tonight's show. Because we tried to find actual news articles.
Yeah.
There are none right now. There's
no.
It's just all a wall
of
election crap.
Well,
so we're not going to do that to you. We've decided we are not doing that. We are tired of doing that. My God, we have done that.
Yes.
So now for something completely different.
Right. So for those needing a safe spot from the election because you've already made your decision or cast your vote, or you don't want to hear anybody else's opinion, and I don't want to risk certain things that, I have because of my day job. Y'all, I'm exhausted, and I think this Redditor is too. Let's go for it.
Alrighty. So, y'all, I'm exhausted. I feel like I've lived at least a year's worth of life in a month and a half. Since September in my personal life, I lost my last remaining grandparent, had the funeral, 2 weddings, turned 30, and my dad had a major health scare that had him in the hospital for over a week. Professionally, financially, this year, my margins have been incredibly thin because I bit off too much or bit off more than I could chew with the new apartment. My serving job slowed down to the point I'm making at least $75 a shift less than what I was this time last year, about $1,500 less a month. And between that and a slew of unexpected expenses, new breaks, travel for the funeral, time off for the weddings, etc., my savings account was cut in half over about 6 months. I've worked my butt off to get a new serving job that looked like it was going to turn my financial life around. The job is easy, done early, and the money is absolutely stupid for the work put in. What I wasn't told until I was done with my training was that it's a union job that schedules off seniority, and the available shifts for the staff are half this year what they were last year. The GM said my last day there, "We love you. You're going to be an amazing fit here. I hope we can schedule you again before March." So now it's 2 weeks of not being able to work until I can get back on the schedule for the old job and back to the job hunt in the meantime. The cherry on top was the guy I'd been having great text banter with finally came over, and within the first 2 minutes of him being at my place, told me the government was lying to us about why the sky is blue. He then got into flat earth, dragons are real, dinosaurs are fake, a certain religious ethnicity practice blood magic. Everyone tells him he's scary and how he's tired of people thinking he gives off school shooter energy. A true delight. It felt like a year of making a considered effort to improve myself and my life, only to end up further back than where I started. I know it's temporary and the things will get better, but I'm exhausted. On the plus side, I haven't let my gym routine slip, which has kept me out of falling down the depression hole. And between that and the stress blocking my appetite, I've never looked better. If you've made it this far, thank you for reading. As a reward, here's the knowledge that Liza Minnelli collabed with the Pet Shop Boys on a song called Losing My Mind, which has no business being as much of a banger as it is.
Welcome to the gay world.
I can't even call it that. It's just life.
Right.
Honestly, some months, some years, some decades for people
Right.
are just like, what the hell was that?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. Every which way you turn, it's like, wrong.
Right.
Nope. Not where you should be, not what you should be doing, not where you're going to be at, not going to work out for you. And everything just goes wrong.
Right. And you keep bouncing, you keep moving. An old queen once told me, we live 4 lives in one, and I agree we do.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Something's wrong with my lighting, and I can't figure out what at the moment, so we're just going to leave it as it is.
Okay, great. Cool.
But no, honey, you got 2 weeks. Take some time, chill the fuck out. Go stretch the gym body, take a breath, and adjust.
Yeah, eventually it will get better.
Right.
It's just I think this happens to everyone. It's not just gay guys. It's not just gay guys over 30.
Right.
There's a certain extent of this that you get. And side note, 30 tends to be some of the places that it happens.
Right.
As you start moving into your mid 30s and 40s, depending upon the age of your parents, you start getting the health scares. You start losing the grandmas. You start having just life comes at you fast.
Right.
And it's like, if it's not one thing, it's another.
Right.
So sadly, it does happen.
And it happens a lot. It happens a lot in our life. And
no, you're not wrong. It's exhausting.
Yes, it is. It's very exhausting. It's very tiring. And I'm going to say this. It's going to sound bad. Buckle up, buttercup. Wait till your 40s when you also cannot longer pull those triple shifts.
Yeah. I don't want to ever give... I'm starting to learn at this point in my life, though, is stop giving people previews to how much worse it gets. I don't think that's fair. I really don't.
I think it is. I mean, he only had one weirdo date.
Well, but it was one of those, it was a lot of buildup to then meet them and find out, oh, God.
Right.
Get me out of here. Beam me up.
Mm-hmm.
No, I understand that one. That's probably one of the worst situations you really can have. It's one thing to have a blind date that goes badly.
Right.
Or a hookup that goes badly. And you didn't ask enough questions, clearly. And you get there and it's, oh, wow.
Right.
Not what I thought I signed up for. That happens, and it's like, okay, ask more questions. All right, got it. Have
a screening process. I used to have a lovely screening process till someone told me it was mean.
Your screening process is rude. But no, I mean, allow some variability here, okay? Right. But no, it really does suck when you've been talking to someone and they're saying all the right things, and you're like, this is sounding really good, so you're really psyched for the date.
Right.
And they in an instant, just off a cliff.
Yep.
And it's like, wait, what? Where's the person that was sending me cute texts and what?
Yeah. Who is
okay.
Yeah. All right. So I chose one. Your turn.
Oh. Well, let's see. All right. Let's go with this one next up. Dumped due to socioeconomic class differences. Uh-oh. You okay?
Yeah.
That was a big, deep breath for that.
Let's go.
Like, you just really buckled up on that one. Okay, so I'll try to make a long story short here. I was seeing someone last summer, and it was magical for about 3 months, at least for me. We met through mutual friends at Pride and hit it off. Amazing sex. We were genuinely close friends quickly. We shared values and goals in life. We cared deeply for each other, etc. He was affectionate, caring, and sweet in a way I've never experienced with a partner before. I live in New York, and dating is hard here, so I felt like I'd finally found a real connection since my last breakup about 5 to 6 years ago after really putting myself out there. Almost all of our friends got along, and we built community around us with weekend beach trips. Our first ever trip to Fire Island and shared hangs going out. I was so guarded when I met him, but as he revealed his true character to me, I opened up and really trusted this person. I was hopeful we were building a foundation for something more serious. 3 months in, he cut things off with me, and when I pressed him as to why, a few weeks later, he said it was because I grew up wealthy, and he did. This is true. I'm frankly in the 1%. He grew up a child of immigrants living paycheck to paycheck or broke. I thought it was ridiculous at the time, as this seems like the kind of thing you bring up in serious conversation in terms of navigating this difference, but not a reason to end a relationship. We took space for many months and recently rekindled a friendship. He has a new boyfriend. When I asked him tonight what he saw in this person he didn't see in me, the same point came up as to socioeconomic class difference. I've navigated this class difference before, and while it's hard, it's not impossible.
Right.
So, what do you think about this? Have you ever been dumped for having more money than someone else? Have you been on the other side of that? Do you think he was warranted?
I haven't been dumped for it. I've been used for it.
Okay, so you've been on the side where effectively the income differential was in your favor, and then you were exploited for it.
Right.
Okay. And I can say same. Like, even at a point in my life where it's like, I do not have that much money.
Right.
But, when you have an ex-wife and 4 children, child support's bitch.
Yeah.
So very quickly. Income level differential. So yeah, I did have that experience, and that was, but I don't think it was impossible. Like, although I don't think either one of us were in the 1%. That can be a significant challenge.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you really have to have a hatred of wealth. And for wealthy people.
Not only that, but I think you have to have in your forethought what you can do versus what they can do and how to handle that.
You're there are a lot of fear about, being exploited.
Right.
But again, I think that kind of goes back to a fear of not necessarily of the wealth or the money so much,
right,
as the person with it.
Right.
And like perhaps trying to navigate situations in which you feel like you can't say no.
Right.
Or that you're being bought, or you're being, kind of put in this weird middle ground where, like, my opinion, my experience, I don't matter. Right. I like that. I could kind of understand, but that again kind of comes down to you have to get blinded by the money before you really process the person. And is it like, are you doing this intentionally, or am I perceiving it?
Well, I've had to make comments too about that's cute, but I'm not for sale. because I've dated some men that were very comfortable, and I've dated some men that were also fairly uncomfortable, and I've dated a few that it's like, oh God, if he gets another black card, I don't want to see the bill.
Hey, if it's not yours to pay.
Honey, you've dated me for 7 years.
Yeah.
Do you think another man is going to sit down and look at the bills?
I mean, if you're wealthy enough, have a business manager.
Yeah, no, I don't trust people like that.
Okay.
I don't like accountants either, and you know that. Because I normally have to argue with them.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, it's one of those things that's just like, ugh. You got to find that right one. And if they're going, oh, you're too rich for me, honey, there are more problems than that.
Yeah. I don't know. I worry if like some of it was for OP, like how you came across with this.
Right.
Like, were you encouraging him to like, skip out on work? Was this like starting to become like,
right,
you're removing his independence and ability to like support himself under this guise of don't worry about it, I've got it, without actually thinking about what you just said to someone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because that can hit people a little hard.
Right.
Is, that my money doesn't matter. You have enough for both of us.
Right.
No, my money very much matters. That controls the decisions I can make. Joe, Aeson give up control? I know, right?
Yeah. Things Aeson does not do well.
No. But no, I think I don't think it's necessarily a reason to kill a relationship straight out of the gate.
Right.
Or necessarily on its own. I think this either is a really polite version of you're a monster with money.
Right.
You think you're being a lot nicer than you are, and your exes were treating you exactly how you deserve to be treated.
Right.
Because you're throwing your money around and it's not a comfortable situation. And you're really, really, really not navigating this as well as you think you are.
Exactly.
Would be my final takeaway. So, like, I think you got the soft version of, yeah, no, you're not nearly as empathetic as you think you are.
Right.
Like, you're screwing this up.
A lot.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go over to, does anyone else struggle with balancing partner's interests with your own personal body issues?
Oh, yes. This one will be fun. Does anyone else struggle with balancing partner's interests with your own personal body issues? I'm 34, 5'11", and about 230 pounds. I'm pretty hairy and am usually seen as a bear or cub, depending upon the person's age. I've had 4 long-term relationships. I'm someone who is strictly monogamous and committed when with someone, and all my serious partners have been like-minded in that regard. Something I have struggled with in each relationship, as well as in occasional random no-string-attached encounters, though it doesn't really matter with these, is feeling insecure that the only guys that are into me end up being into me because of my appearance and not my personality. I've been told by partners that if I shaved my beard or lost X amount of weight, they wouldn't want to be with me. My weight is something I've worked hard on and slipped up on also. I tend to sit around 225, but have gone as high as 270 and as low as 190 within the past 3 years.
That's a lot of versatility.
That's a swing. That's a swing. That's 80 pound swing?
Yeah. 80 pounds.
The guy I'm seeing right now, past 6 weeks, is a jock who clearly chases bigger guys. He recently told me that he is into gainer feeder stuff. I usually avoid that kind of stuff because as someone who wants to lose weight, I don't want to be fed a bunch of junk food and called a pig, even though I typically am into being submissive. This is not something that has come up or factored into our sex at all, and we've been very compatible so far. I could tell he had a type, but I didn't realize the extent, or maybe it just struck a nerve with how I felt with past relationships. He does make me feel good about myself, beautiful, and he's super affectionate, and I really genuinely adore him as a person as well as physically. I feel like if I try to better myself physically, then I risk losing him. Obviously, this is a new relationship, but I've definitely felt this way in the past. Sometimes I feel like I shouldn't turn away from love that is being offered to me right now, but also alternatively that I should wait and only seek a relationship when I'm happy with myself physically, though this could also be a fool's errand. Not sure I'd ever feel like it was the right time. Does anyone else deal with these insecurities? If so, how do you manage it? Any advice or thoughts would be appreciated.
Oh, there's a ton of fucking thoughts here. Run from this dude for one.
Yeah.
Two is there's always that balance. Does he like me in this shirt? Does he not like me in this shirt? If I lose 10 pounds, is he going to withdraw interest? If I gain 20 pounds, is he going to be more interested? Like these are
or
games,
vice versa.
Or vice versa. These are games that's going to play in your head.
Or can.
Yeah.
I don't know where, because this sounds like it's a recurring problem.
Right.
And what I'm afraid of is that this is one of those moments where it's like, look at where you're going to meet people.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've stumbled into the alternative use of that space.
Yes.
While it may not say, hi, Gainer Feeder City, chubbychaser.com, or some clearly obvious,
right,
version of that. I think you've wandered into a place that's sort of how it works.
Right.
Either just in general with the people you're attracting there, or they got attracted there and then are also attracted to you, or as like a very weird aspect of it.
Right. The other part there, and this is the part that you have to maintain yourself, is your own self-image. Meaning, what do you look like? What do you feel like? Where do you want to be at? And if they don't want to join you on that journey, hand them cauliflower.
Okay. I have no clue what this reference is.
Oh, your hate for cauliflower.
Oh, well, yeah, I hate cauliflower, but what does that have to do with the price of tea in China on getting rid of weirdo men?
Because all the diet foods are now based in cauliflower. Cauliflower bread, cauliflower pasta, cauliflower this, cauliflower that.
Yes.
It is grueling. Well, I don't like you at that weight. Well, you don't have to live in my body.
Okay, I'm still not sure I'm following.
Meaning, like, one, gainers and feeders, they have their own department. They are not part of the bear community. You do not have to be 440 pounds to be considered a bear.
No, you do not. But here's the whole thing for me that like I've run into people in okay, and I need to clear up some terms here. Feeder gainer is a relationship model.
Right.
So you have usually a skinny or skinnier feeder who enjoys watching larger men eat and get larger, or larger people eat and get larger. It also occurs in straight community as well. And it's actually, I think, a little more popular in straight community than it actually is in gay community.
Right.
It's one of those weird, like, okay, that's a different one. And basically this confirms something that I long ago said, is I'd never ever want to date someone who's a feeder.
Right.
And it has a lot to do with chubby chasers. Which there's a brief moment with this that, like, let me lay it out. That, like, it would sound ideal. Like, obviously, this is who I'm looking for, right? Like, I'm a bigger person. This is a person who likes bigger people.
Right.
This should be perfect, right? Except it isn't.
Right.
They end up being very attracted to bigger bodies. Usually there's not a lot of care or concern for the people inside them because you effectively become a sex object.
Right.
You are objectified for your body, and this kind of feeds, joking, pun intended, over into the feeder-gainer mentality.
Right.
Of you're really not, as a human being, engaging in a relationship. You're fundamentally being used like a piece of silicone. It's really off-putting to realize that, like, you're at a moment in which it's like, would you and my body like to be alone? Because frankly, this is disgusting me, the human.
Right.
Because nothing you're doing right now,
right,
or saying, or trying to compliment me on, is feeling like anything other than slapping a prize pig on the ass.
And see,
is how it comes across.
Right. And see, here comes the other side of that, is people getting stuck in that. I only want someone 180 pounds. I only want this. I only want that. And it's like, excuse me? Are you wanting the body or the person?
Yeah. Well, and therein kind of lies the rub, is there's a fair number of people across all communities,
right,
that are not dating people. They're dating types.
Right.
Of bodies, of hair, of eyes, of shapes and sizes.
Right.
And not really considering the person. And it does create a massive struggle. It's bad enough if you keep doing this as a dating preference.
Right.
Because I can tell you right now, it generally always ends the same.
Right.
You're going to get dumped pretty quickly. Now, from the other side of it, being on the receiving end of being treated like the, blue ribbon pig at the fucking fair. And I'm being guttural about it because, quite frankly, it's how it feels.
Yeah.
It is that ugly to me. You got to build your own self-confidence independent of others real quick. Because if you're sitting there going, and which OP kind of basically said it,
right?
You're having that moment of, should I just take the love being offered and not really look the gift horse in the mouth? One, I don't care who you are or really anything about you, in terms of, are you worth finding a human being that connects with you as a human being, and being loved and appreciated for that,
right?
Instead of just taking whatever you can get because you lack the self-confidence to see yourself as having worth and value.
Right.
So I don't know how, and I know it's really easy to sit and say, get your self-confidence. But some of it is accepting the concept that, like, the body you live in is a shell, and it does not define you.
Right.
And that regardless of what anyone thinks about it, you're more than a physical form.
Right.
So, at least that's where I started.
And then you have the other side of that they don't talk about. The ones that, you need a salad. Are you ordering dessert again? You just had all the pasta.
Actually went out with a guy who said after all that you're eating dessert too, or you're getting dessert too, technically.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know if I was going to eat it yet or not. Surprise, I did. Because it was Olive Garden.
You have
of course I ate my dessert.
Exactly.
It's half the reason I wanted to go.
Right. But I've had a few partners that direction, and it's like, fuck off.
Yeah, trying to control someone else's diet and eating.
Mm-hmm.
Starts down a really ugly trend. For some people, it really truly is about trying to help them and not understanding that everything you're doing is the opposite of that.
Right.
And it's genuinely good intent, horribly delivered in the least supportive means possible.
It is, and the other part of that is it also just irritates them more. At least for me, it irritated me more.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can't have that. Why the fuck can't I have that?
I can have whatever I want to.
Exactly.
And I've had that moment, and y'all be proud. On that day, I got my cheesecake.
Good.
But yeah, no, that one doesn't work with me. Like, don't make me feel bad about my food. Now I say that from a slightly different perspective of having to work out in my late teens, mid 20s, that era. That I was an emotional overeater. Who was eating to fill the void inside myself of feeling unlovable, unwanted. There's a whole laundry list there. And having to realize that, like, the choices I was making were going to have horrible consequences.
Right.
Because truthfully, the things I was doing were bad.
Right.
Like, and that still wasn't accomplishing what I wanted. I just felt full.
Right.
And unfortunately, because the amount of emotional anguish, it took a lot to get there.
Right.
Because, and I'll give it away. Upset me enough, I will go to Kroger. I will buy a frozen Sara Lee cheesecake. There's no need to defrost it. Right. And I can eat up to 3 of those in one setting. That's at a level of emotional pain.
Right.
Not to mention, it's a little hard on the teeth. Just FYI, really should defrost those. No,
microwave 30 seconds. Just FYI.
Ew, no. Yeah. I've tried it, but no, don't do that. Ew, just ew. Sorry, it does weird things to it.
Again, you don't care at that point.
Technically, no, but at the same time, I can also shove a knife into one and make it break. Oh, frozen cheesecake cut into squares and dipped in chocolate. That's fair. But no, this wasn't about enjoying the food that I was eating.
Right.
This was just my go-to for I hurt so bad. That I am going to eat the pain away. And basically feeling so empty and alone and blah blah, just on and on and on.
Right.
It's emotional overeating.
Right.
And having to literally start at the point of, because what basically happened, mom died. I went into an emotional overeating free fall. Unlimited calf plan was not a good thing for me at that time. And so I quickly gained a ton of weight. And had the sudden realization that because I didn't even realize I gained it. If you'd asked, I put on 20 pounds. I put on 20 pounds. It was a lot more than 20 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
It was the heaviest I have ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not realize it until photos came back, because this is back in the days of film cameras. Went to a Christmas party for work as a work study office assistant. And anyway, the pictures came back from this party, and I'm looking at these two little skinny girls standing in front of me, and there's still more me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like 6 months before.
Mm-hmm.
And it suddenly dawned on me.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't 20 pounds.
Right.
This is out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to throw this in reverse quickly.
Right.
So I had to realize what I was doing and how I was doing it and why I was doing it, and basically talk myself out of it. Because unfortunately, I think that was also I think that was before. No, I did have a counselor. I think that was the one with cancer that was dying, and everything that I talked to him about related to his cancer and dying.
Mm-hmm.
Moments in therapy one should never have.
Right.
But that's a whole side point, and I'm pretty sure he's dead now. So yeah. What am I going to do? Be mad about it? But no.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Having to back through that and realize that I had some really wrong understandings about myself, the world, and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot.
Right. And for me, that's been this whole year of renegotiating my relationship with food,
Mm-hmm.
my relationship on what I want, when I want it, if I can have it. Because for so many years, it's been programmed in mind, you can't have chips. You can't eat this. You can't eat that. And I was right now going, oh, yeah, we're going to fucking eat that. Because that's the only thing.
Right now, there's no stopping you.
Yeah.
Like, but then you're feeling bad about it, and you're like apologizing to me, like I'm holding a truncheon at you in the kitchen, going, "Put it back,"
Mm-hmm.
because it's the level he apologizes as. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be eating more chips. It's clearly you have a craving.
Right.
Clearly, your body needs something.
Yes. What?
Eat it.
Yeah. Right now, it's potato chips and Coke.
Yeah. Now, your blood pressure shoots up to like stroke level. We get to have a conversation about how to fix that, and that maybe we need to cut some salt out of your diet. But until then, or until we start approaching that, go do whatever you need to. Your body's telling you, like, cravings are not evil.
Mm-hmm.
It's just knowing the difference between, and that's kind of where I have to jump back off for a moment, is knowing the difference between a craving that is a legitimate thing within your body telling you I need this, and that moment of I want this because I feel miserable.
Right.
Because sometimes those, for a lot of people, are very hard to understand messages, and they sound very similar. And you really have to stop and like step back. What's my motivation? Like, if you can ask yourself what triggered this, and you can think of anything in your brain, that's an emotional craving.
Right.
You are wanting to fix something inside you that has nothing to do with your body needs something.
Right. And that's not it. And that's that renegotiation that I eat to live. I don't eat to express emotions. I don't have to eat something I don't want to.
Right. Like, you can have a bite of pizza and throw it in the trash. I don't care.
Exactly. And
do I hope you get more nutrition than that? Absolutely. But you take one bite of it and it's nasty, throw it in the trash.
But, and we've had to do that. It's like some of the breads we've bought. Oh my God, they're terrible. And it's like, no, I'm not eating that.
Well, but you've locked in a couple of times and had a moment of like, but it was $9. And like you're ready to force yourself.
Yeah, and it's fighting that programming and renegotiating that programming. And then getting real with my body image. I mean, we're doing that right now because pulled out the winter clothes. I haven't worn jeans since, I don't know, March.
Yeah.
Poof, poof, poof.
Oh, those are all garbage now. Let's buy new clothes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have clothes that will stay on me. I need new clothes.
Yes. Even my tight clothes will not stay on me. They're no longer tight. Okay, it's time to get new clothes. Let's figure out what we want. And it's also figuring out my style. Because I'm not going conservative. I'm not going, well, you know, I need to look this way. Or I'm within probably a few weeks, guys, because we're waiting for Timo deliveries. Because we're not investing. And there's a difference with that right now. Right now, because my body is going through changes, I'm not investing in high quality clothes. There's no reason to. I almost threw out my summer shorts because it's like they're not going to fit me next year.
Well, I mean, you can do it now. We can do it later. Like, we can have a fashion show again in the spring where you go, oh, not again.
Well, and it will be that. But at the same time, you know, it's getting used to not having a pair of jeans for 20 years.
Yeah. It's okay.
It's okay. And that's my body interest. That's not him going, oh, you need to lose weight. You need to lose weight. That's my body interest. He doesn't give a crap.
Well, I give now. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay.
I have tried to communicate this as clearly as I can. Is that you if you gain weight and you are not like unhealthy, depressed, and dying from it, that's fine.
Right.
If you lose weight and you're not unhealthy, depressed, and dying from it, that's fine. If you expect me to engage with this in terms of trying to encourage you to gain or discourage you from gaining, or encourage you to lose, vice versa, however that works, as solely about me, like, I'm not there.
Right.
Like, I'm not there. That's not fair to any human being.
Right.
It's just not fair. Right. Now, that doesn't mean I'm unsupportive.
Right.
Like, and I think that's sometimes the big clarity to make is like, it's not that I do not care at all. I do care. But I do try to be supportive, not necessarily like lock in on you're gonna do this.
Right.
Because that's not my place. That's all about him.
Exactly.
Yeah, I care about him and his health, not his weight. Like, it's a number on a scale. I've seen a lot of them in my life. In a very, very wide swath.
Right.
Of numbers. They really don't necessarily mean a lot. And I think we do overemphasize them at times. And I think we really misjudge people's health,
right,
based on numbers like weight and BMI,
right,
without necessarily looking at, well, but what are you doing?
Well, but at the other side of that, like, weight and BMI is one part of the equation. There are so many other things that have to go into that equation. And, you know, we got into this talk earlier this week after I came home from my training. I'm going, well, you know, we got to start setting new goals. What do you think I should look at? And he's like, I don't know. And it's like,
well, I said that at first because I was like, hello. Like, because you blew through everything you wanted.
Right.
And it's like, well, if you're looking at me for what do I want for you, it's like, I don't know, happy. Like, I set that as a goal. I don't know, maybe not to have a nervous breakdown every time the clothes you just bought fall off of you. Like, you know, like I don't know.
Right.
Could we not?
Right.
You know, and that I know it's funny, but like there's a reality there of like I don't really have goals. And then I stopped and thought about it, and I was like, no, I do. Like if I have to set a goal for you, if that's what you want from me, like no, I think there's, you know, some balance and flexibility to probably be addressed. Because I have noticed that's sort of an issue for you. And I don't necessarily, because you were talking more in terms of like gains.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I kind of think at this point we need to focus because you did the lose. And now you're trying to do the gains of like strength and things like that.
Right. And development and, you know, also like gaining balance and, hate to say this, thinner bodies move differently than bigger bodies, and I know how to move a bigger body.
Right. And you can't do that now. You will hurt yourself in ways that are not good.
Right.
If not just by falling over because you're trying to manipulate your body like it's bigger than it is. And you'll overcompensate. And that's kind of where I ended up was like, no.
Right.
You need to really focus on like the balance and flexibility. Because I think that's going to be your better basis that'll make everything else flow.
Right. You know, but those are like health, and these are things that I'm working at with my doctor. I'm working it with a trainer that's also a certified nutritionist who, you know, doesn't put up with fad bullshit. Because like I've even brought a few things to him, and he's like, "That's bullshit. You cannot eat watermelon and lose weight. You're going to deprave your muscle structure."
Well, you can eat nothing but watermelon and lose weight.
Yeah.
And it may not short term be necessarily unhealthy, but it's not a good basis for it. It's you're band-aiding a problem. And it's only going to work so much for so long.
Right.
And then it's really not going to benefit you. It's going to start to hurt because you're nutritionally deficiencing yourself. Like you're throwing yourself into a nutritional deficiency.
Right.
That's never been good.
Right. And that's why I don't do diets. I have a plan, but it's not a diet.
I mean, you don't want more green bean soup?
Only if you remember the soy sauce. That way I can get rid of it faster. But anyhow.
Does anyone remember that diet?
Green bean soup, cabbage soup, oranges, grapefruit, you name it. But I really like the way my trainer put it. It's like, he's like, you need everything. Because at the time I was doing no carb. And he's like, no, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You need everything.
Yeah. Like, and it's sometimes the hidden problem with diabetics especially is trying to no carb your way through life. And it's like, okay, one, it doesn't work that way. And it means you're going to make yourself really sensitive to any carbs you get.
Right. Now,
you're also more likely to overdo it when you finally break bad.
Right.
And I'll put that in air quotes. And you're not just going to have like, oh, I had a sandwich. You're going to like do the, oh my God, I ate a whole baguette and then a piece of cake and 2 more pieces of cake. And you're going to carb out.
Right. But the problem
is, with that like anti-carb status you have, your body's going to go into free fall.
Right. And the other part of it, and he pointed it out, was that's fine for how long? And then you're going to go into another one and another one. And by the time you're done, your metabolism is so screwed up
Mm-hmm.
Your adrenals are so screwed up that you're just screwed. He's like, it's better if you eat normally, portions, normal portions. I'll say that again, normal portions, which is half cup to a third of a cup of something, and a smaller plate, than if you're not eating this and not eating that and depriving yourself of this nutrition and that nutrition. And, I totally expected, because, I tell him everything I eat or anything new. I totally expected him to curl my ass when I walked into the gym with a bullet, black rifle.
Black rifle. Okay, let's clarify. The Black Rifle Mocha energy drink.
Mm-hmm.
Like, worst name product for just casually dropping. I have a Black Rifle.
Right.
No, don't scream that in public.
Exactly. And he's like, these are fucking fabulous. They've got more micronutrients than you'll ever get, more vitamins that you've been lacking from your scans. Like, you can have 3 of these a day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And granted, the caffeine content, watch out for, but just FYI, that is.
Please, that's taking more caffeine. It has 300 milligrams. That's 5 pots of coffee. I'll drink that in a day. And he actually pointed out, they have one called Recovery. And I was like, yeah, we've joked about, send me to rehab. He's like, no, that actually helps you repair your muscles.
Yeah.
Right.
So, again, a lot of the things we're told are so horrible for us may not necessarily be in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, moderation's always the key word.
Right.
I know sometimes it's hard, and we all have that moment where we go a little off kilter.
Right.
But the reality is that, diets, especially fad diets,
mm-hmm.
And this mindset of everything you eat, or that you want to eat,
mm-hmm.
Is bad for you.
Right.
It really tends to have an inverse relationship. Is you don't have a little of it,
mm-hmm.
you completely fall off the wagon, like you were in AA,
mm-hmm.
and you decided that, well, if I have one beer,
mm-hmm.
well, I fell off the wagon, I'm starting all over, so by God, I'm going off this cliff.
Right. And let's see, when we were dealing and still dealing with the gluten thing, and we're now starting to reintroduce the diabetic, because he's like, you can choose one. You can either handle the gluten allergy or the sugar allergy. You can't do both right now. Mm-hmm. Get one stabilized and then figure your other one out.
Yeah. The goal isn't perfection.
Right. But the goal is not to throw up in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can take some higher glucose numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, even at, so to speak, your worst, which was this week because of a medication shipment glitch,
mm-hmm.
You just didn't get your meds. Well, it wasn't really a glitch. You just didn't get your meds when you needed them.
Right.
Because they're mail order, and
right.
It took a while to get them mailed out.
No.
Even at your worst, the worst number we saw was still under 300.
Right.
And while we're not suggesting that as a diabetic you should live at 300, as a one-off, unmedicated,
mm-hmm.
a week out on 2 weeks out on your last Trulicity injection,
right?
Having had it was our faux Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Having had some carbs.
Mm-hmm.
And enjoyed yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad number.
Nah,
do I want to see it every day? Fuck no.
You don't want to see him in that shape every day either.
Right. Well, yeah, he was drunk off his ass. It was kind of funny. He can get more off of carbs than he can off of liquor.
Yeah.
You're honestly, the two would seem a little backwards. But no, do I want to see the number every day? Do I think that that's a continuous healthy number? God, no.
Right.
We're not stupid.
Right.
But as a one-off event, given the situation, not bad.
Right.
Not bad. All right, we got all kinds of comments.
We've got a lot of stuff. Let's go through this.
We struck a nerve. All right, let me back up. All right, so my friend and his wife keep having fights because she refuses to work out, and his job depends on him being in shape because he might have to wrestle a perp or something, he keeps telling me. She's yelling at him for running and going to the gym, and I told him to find a sitter for the baby and start clapping our hands at her to chase her out the door to go. She'll stop. Happy and not screaming at me because you haven't eaten all day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the goal.
Right.
When I got down to 127, not my choice, health issues, I kept rolling my ankle because my weight did not distribute on my foot the way I was accustomed to. You need protein. No, it's not a long-term solution. Like the diet they put people on to drop weight right before surgery, you're not supposed to do that after the surgery. And so, yeah, Shannon also remembers the cabbage soup one. It was like loaded veggie soup. My autistic tendency ass loved it. And I could understand that. Like, if you have a tendency to be someone who, like, picks a food, then potentially fad diets can work for you. As long as you like the food and you're good. Just realize that nutritionally, those usually aren't very balanced.
Right.
So short term, it's useful, but if this is what you end up eating long term, you're developing more problems.
And see, the problem there is that short term is actually doing more damage. And this was my trainer's point, was that you have to make lifestyle changes, not short-term diets.
Yeah, so Brenda says, Mom did the cabbage soup, something about hard-boiled eggs, and I remember the grapefruit diet more. Yeah, hard-boiled egg, a staple of the diet industry. Like many of these diets often start with like a hard-boiled egg and a piece of toast for breakfast. Plain toast. Don't add anything. So anyway, Shannon says, oh, my mom did all kinds of fad diets. Yeah, most of our mothers and grandmothers did. So eating right for your blood type was one I didn't mind. Eat a well-rounded diet in moderation. I was good with that. My mom, vegan diet, she did not like it. And it often depends upon what's your blood type, because you're either about to get told everything you like is bad for you, or you're about to be told, yes, you are eating exactly what you should for your blood type. Needless to say, as an O positive, I got told pasta was the worst thing I could touch. And I went, well, this diet sucks. Like, I'm immediately over it. But I did work for someone at that point who was really trying to encourage me. And I appreciate that on a level. That like this was part of what she advised clients, patients, actually. And it was like, no. So, yeah, my grandma was telling me popcorn, hard-boiled eggs, and black coffee would be a way to lose weight. And I stared at her and said, because you'd shit yourself to death. You're not wrong. Yeah, you. No, I well, you know, there's some days. If I added a hard-boiled egg... apparently it was popular in the 60s.
Which that's a bone I gotta pick with you anyhow.
Do what now?
That's a bone I gotta pick with you anyhow.
Yeah, I know. They had some really weird ones during the 70s, etc. Yes. Yeah, there were a lot of A lot of diets came out in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And they kind of got recycled and reformulated for the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's all like we've like packaged and commoditized diets.
Mm-hmm.
Nutrisystem, South Beach, whatever. You don't just get told, go to the grocery store, here's your list. You have to go to a website, plug in your credit card, they deliver it to your house.
Right.
Yeah. So she did it to get back down to her pre-baby weight and wondered why she couldn't nurse. Oh no! How is this so hard to follow? Yeah, reminds you of the priestesses with meat in Mists of Avalon, huh? Not sure I get that one. Keto, Atkins on steroids. LOL, I don't need to go into ketosis. Thanks.
And you can go to ketosis very easily. People make it sound like it's a big accomplishment, and it's really not. All right, guys, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll find out if Joe's the asshole this week.
All right. Oh, yeah, when I was saying Aeson was drunk on carbs, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he was there.
Yep. Well, partially.
Love diving into metaphysical topics, psychic insights, and lively discussions? Now you can help keep the conversation going. By becoming a Patreon supporter of The Psychic Coffee Shop, you'll gain access to exclusive content, behind-the-scenes insights, and special perks just for our patrons. Join our community and ensure that your favorite psychic show continues to thrive. Your support helps us bring more enlightening episodes, special guests, and deep dives into the world of the unseen. Become a patron today and enjoy a cup of wisdom with us every week. Click the link to join the baristas and unlock exclusive content. Thank you for your support.
Unlock your full potential with Aeson Knight's life coaching. Are you ready to take control of your life and manifest the future you deserve? Aeson Knight, a seasoned life coach and master psychic, is here to guide you on a transformative journey. Whether you're navigating personal challenges, career transitions, or seeking spiritual growth, Aeson's life coaching services offer tailored guidance to help you achieve your goals. With Aeson by your side, you'll discover the tools to overcome obstacles, embrace your true self, and create a life filled with purpose and fulfillment. His unique blend of spiritual insight and practical coaching empowers you to turn your dreams into reality. Ready to make a change? Book your session today and start your journey to a more empowered, balanced, and joyful life with Aeson Knight. Click the link to schedule your first session and step into your power.
Are you ready for an electrifying podcast experience that keeps you coming back for more? Join Aeson Knight every week as he takes you on a journey through captivating shows, each exploring unique and fascinating topics. And here's the best part. By subscribing, you'll never miss an episode where you can get your burning questions answered live on air, absolutely free. Whether it's relationship advice, career guidance, or mystical insights, Aeson's podcasts have got you covered. When you subscribe, you become part of a vibrant community, engaging directly with Aeson as he shares his wisdom and leaves you feeling empowered and enlightened. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and be part of the conversation. What you'll get by subscribing: Monday 5 p.m. Metaphysics. Today, soulful conversations with Aeson Knight and Firefly, exploring the essence of metaphysics in today's world. Tuesday 8 p.m. The Psychic Coffee Shop. Dive into current events with a psychic twist, featuring special guests and thought-provoking discussions. Friday 9 p.m. The Mountain Bears Podcast. Lively discussions from a gayish, techy-ish, bearish perspective with Aeson and Joe. Sunday 5 p.m. Psychic That Plans. Get a weekly tarot energy overview and time management tips from Aeson Knight. Click here to subscribe now and never miss an episode. By subscribing, you're not just tuning in, you're joining a community of curious minds and ensuring you're always in the loop with Aeson's insightful and interactive shows. Don't wait. Hit that subscribe button and get ready for an amazing podcast journey.
Ready for an enchanting journey of self-discovery? Join Lord Aeson Knight in our Wicca courses. Unveil the secrets of Wicca. Explore deity relationships, rituals, and more. As a third-degree high priest, Aeson Knight guides you toward empowerment and enlightenment. Enroll today and take your first step into the magical circle. Click the link to begin your journey.
Psychic Saturday. Get 50% off with Aeson Knight every third Saturday of the month. Don't miss out. Book now.
All right. So one last comment from Shannon. Mists of Avalon, the priestesses only ate meat at high holidays and would get drunk. So, got you now. Yes, it does remind me of it.
Yes. And it normally only happens at Halloween. Like, we've come across that apparently as our pattern.
Well, it just seems to have this unlikely... like, it's one day a year that we kind of bend the rules a little more than the others.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we kind of have very teenage-level interests for Halloween.
Right.
And it's usually, like, the day of, like, crappy food, some candy, watching movies, let's have popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we just kind of roll with it.
Yeah, and, the New Salem slot is not as good as the original. And it's also shorter.
Well, it's half. It's half as long as the original.
Yeah.
And I kept having a moment with the new one because I'd never seen the original.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat down last night and watched the original.
Okay, what's the Joe review?
I know why the new one is so rough around the edges.
Mm-hmm.
Is because they accelerated that plot line and dropped some characters to speed it up. Because there's a couple of characters that don't really have a big necessarily big interaction to the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
That the original spends a lot of time on.
Right, and I think the original Stephen King was more involved with the production, and we all know that he can take 30 pages to describe a dresser.
Well, yes. But no, the new one tries to condense a couple of characters and then just shoot past. Like, okay, cool, we handled that. We don't have to do like an hour of exposition on all these people.
Right.
We're going to chop this down.
Right.
So it becomes more of a 30-30-30 instead of hour.
Right.
So there's that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also cuts a lot of the ending out.
True.
Because you basically, I don't like doing spoilers. If you haven't watched the New Salem slot and you don't want to hear this, stop now, skip over about a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be fine. But anyway, you've been warned. In terms of the ending, the original gets like off into the weeds of like after the house burns and Mexico, and it's the same place the movie starts and picks that storyline back up. The new one just stops at like they're dead.
Right.
We're done. We're out.
Right.
We like you can figure out what happened. They might be dead. They might not be dead. There might be more. We don't know if there's more.
And they didn't burn the house.
They didn't burn the house.
Right.
Technically, well, it's not. Yeah, I don't want to spoil any more than that if you haven't seen it.
Right.
So yeah, just
yeah.
But no, it does. Those are like two of the biggest pieces that really condense the story down a lot faster.
Right.
That and some of the storytelling does the same thing.
Right.
Is that it takes things that we had to watch in the original, just drag through, and just kind of one shots it.
Yep.
Like, we're going to do this in 2 minutes.
Exactly. And
like,
I don't know.
We're not spreading this over.
Exactly. And, oh, you only have one scene in this movie? Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, it did a lot of that. It cut out a lot of one-sceners or people that were, like, heavily extras. Though I will say that has a little bit of a downside to it. but they kind of covered it too. So it's one of those back and forths. I don't think the new one's bad. I think the old one was really good.
Right.
But God, it's titanically long.
Right.
So we need a third version that is right in the middle of those two. Yeah. I don't think it's a story that's going to give you a Goldilocks step.
Right.
I think you have to pick what you're in for.
Right.
You want the long narrative that kind of goes off on tangents, or are you okay with the just tell me the story?
Right.
Like the facts, nothing but the facts, and move it forward.
Right.
And it really does feel about that different. So 4.5 hours of my life later.
Well, again, what's your Joe rating? How many coffee cups does the new one get?
I would personally give the new one 4 out of 5.
Okay.
And I would say about the same on the original. They're fairly equivalent movies. The biggest difference is the time.
Right.
Because I didn't even realize it when I started the original.
Until
I got a good ways through it and was like, we're not even at the middle yet. What? And then I popped it up and I was like, oh my God, it's 3 hours. Why did I do this to myself? Yeah, full book, or I wouldn't quite call it a Cliff Notes.
Reader's
the
Digest?
new one is not. Do what now?
The Reader's Digest version?
Yeah, it was what I was going to say. It's more the Reader's Digest abridged version. Is they do some funny things to make it work.
Right.
So you could get very lost trying to talk to people. If all you've seen is the new one and you're only talking to people that have seen the old one, y'all are going to have a moment where it's like, the fuck are you on?
What movie did you watch?
What did you watch? That's not it. Only to realize that it's the total difference of the new one versus the.
See, and I wonder, there's a book Stephen King did that had 3 different endings, and it depended on which book you got on which ending you got.
Oh God, which one was that? I remember he did that, and it was a whole thing.
Yeah. It's like he also did another book that was 2 books, and you read it one way, and it was one book, and you read it another way, and it was a completely different book.
Yeah, that was Stephen King wrote one, Richard Bachman wrote the other, which is another name for Stephen King.
Right.
It's one of the names he writes under. And I'm trying to remember which book that was because it was really cool, and I think it was The Stand. I had to think through that. Is because you basically the way the book works is they're only printing the story on one page or one side of the page. So you have text going down and text going up. You finish it, you start and go in reverse, and you're only reading one page. And it's sort of like you start at the 2 polar ends of the story and end up crossing at the middle. That's where each book ends, is in the middle.
Right.
When everything's kind of going on.
I don't know if I'd like that, but no, he's done some interesting things with these books, but it's always the problem taking him to movie.
Well, but here was the thing with that, because I will say, because there was overlap in that middle. Because there's a point where they both come together and you start getting insight into the other side before you've read it. And then as you go back through, you start getting insight from that side. And it kind of coalesces the story together. Compared to when they did The Stand, the movie, in which you just had to keep flipping back and forth.
Right.
between one end to the other, one end to the other, one end to the other, one end to the other to get to the middle.
Right.
And like the amount of like trying, because it's a Stephen King novel, there are like so many characters. And you're trying to learn about and get detail and information on this set. And then before you can really get comfortable with them, you have to go introduce to a whole different set of people.
Right.
And then you just start to figure them out. And then we switch back. And you're like, wait, who is that again?
Yeah.
Like, what is... Well, I thought she was... Oh, those are two different... Those are two different people. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and it starts getting a little muddled.
Well, and it is. And it's kind of like that movie series, that 3 movies that I showed you.
Okay.
The debate on how to watch them is insane.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about that. Like, I knew nothing about this. And I've already seen the one in the middle.
Right.
And you were like, oh, I heard about, because I think, what was it? Peter
It's
Mon?
X, Pearl, and
Yeah, it's
Maxine.
Pearl, X, and then Maxine.
Right.
And you're supposedly supposed to watch them in order of their release dates, which is Pearl, X, and Maxine.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw X.
Yeah.
Which is nowhere near as like raunchy as it could be.
Right.
It's actually a really good movie.
Good. Very good. How many cups?
That one's a 5 out of 5. Because just at the point in which you're really starting to lock into, did I just watch some like really crappy, weird, like teen scream kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Plot goes places.
Right.
Like, just as you're at the moment of like kind of thinking you like, oh, this was just a stupid movie. And it really wasn't all that deep or complex or whatever. Total like hits you for the ending.
Interesting.
And it's like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Like, that's where you end up for the last 10 minutes. Is like the movie's totally different than what you thought was going on.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's find out if you're an asshole, and then we'll wrap up.
All right. Am I the asshole for buying my own dinner because I don't like what the in-laws order? I like to preface by saying that I am not a picky person. I don't just turn down food. I'm always willing to try new things, even if they're weird or unconventional. One of my favorite things to do is to pick out something I've never tried in the grocery store. But my in-laws are hooked on this one take and bake pizza joint that I just cannot stand. I've tried to like it. I've ordered so many different things off of their menu. I just don't like it. They order it for every single family event, every get-together, every holiday, every birthday. I started ordering my own meals to bring to the parties. They got upset when they realized what I was doing. I explained that I like ordering my own food because it's a chance to get a treat for myself that I don't normally order. Still, they're always trying to convince my partner to get me to change my mind and just eat the same pizza as everyone else. This Halloween, we'd all planned to get together for a Halloween party. My partner and I had actually planned out a fun homemade meal, a pasta bar, for everyone. But mother-in-law became very upset that we weren't getting pizza. She put her foot down so hard that we thought there'd be an actual honest-to-God fight about it. So we told her she could order the take and bake she wanted. And of course, I was going to run to the store and get my own favorite pizza. She became so angry. She insisted that I eat what she ordered, what everyone else was eating, and even offered to buy me anything that sounded good off the menu. I told her again that I don't like anything on the menu, and I'm perfectly willing to go and buy something that I do enjoy instead. She's still angry with me. father-in-law is angry with me. They tried again and again to convince me, they always do, to get something off the take and bake menu. But I just don't like it. Am I the asshole for buying my own takeout instead of what's being served at the party? Edit because there's questions. My partner is always supportive of me and would never try to make me eat something I don't like. He does stand up for me and tells them, just like I do, that I just don't like that place. He's a lot more confident about standing up than I am, to be honest. But even when he gets them to back down, the issue is brought back up the very next time we eat together. And yes, we were planning on hosting and cooking everything. We'd actually bought all of the ingredients already, but when she gets upset, it's a whole big thing that could last for days and ruin the whole party. So it's really a pick your battles thing. Have everyone together for Halloween, or have a silly fight over pasta versus pizza and miss Halloween altogether trying to do damage control. It's a mess.
Sounds familiar.
Okay.
Because the situation, it's like, we've known people that's had to do this.
Okay. Now I'm currently confused as to who we knew that went through this.
Michael. The number of times he gets offered.
Oh, God, yes. But that's a different situation, but yes, fundamentally has similar implications for events. But tends to work out better over time.
Yeah.
And for some people, as little as it's the event occurs, it's not unsurprising that they may not have remembered.
Right.
That it just didn't stick.
Right.
Here's my thing. I think in some much in the line of pick your battles.
Right.
In some instances, if it's once a year, suck it up, buttercup, and just eat the fucking pizza.
Right.
364 meals a year, you get to be happy. This one sucks. Or 364 times 3, potentially. You get to be happy. This one sucks.
Try to order something that is like base product.
I think this might be one of those situations. There's just nothing, and that happens. Sometimes a restaurant just doesn't click. You may love the food in general, but it just doesn't hit for you.
Yeah, there's a number.
I'm going with not the asshole, and it has a lot more to do with the level of insistence, the frequency, and just the sheer amount of effort being made to force this.
Right.
When there are clearly easy options. She's not saying your place sucks, mine's better. This is not like getting into like a sports team rivalry level competition, or it shouldn't be. It's, I just don't like it.
Right.
I appreciate that you guys like it. I don't like it.
Right.
So Shannon says, not the asshole, tried everything on the menu, don't like it, pay for your own food. The end. Sounds like mom needs tested for autism, LOL. Mine is in January. So people would ask me if I was picky, and I'd just tell them I have stomach issues and can't eat it if they want me to stay and hang out. Tends to get them to back off. Yeah.
Very much so. All right, so the poll is up. It's going to be a very short poll, but there was a question in Ask Abe Rose we didn't get to.
Oh.
That we're going to use.
Oh, okay. You want to do that one?
Yeah.
All right. Which one is that?
Because it's the last one posted.
Oh, the one. Okay,
I'll just literally send it to you.
Okay, so the work-life patterns?
Yep.
All right, work-life patterns. Can dating work? What's your opinion on dating someone with very different work patterns? For example, I work 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. most days, needing to be in bed by 9 p.m. for my sanity. But someone else might work weekends and have different hours in the week. If you like them, would you give dating a go, or just realize from off of that it wasn't going to work out?
Why wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, if depends upon the hours, you may have like some real concessions to make.
Right.
Trying to figure out like what is reasonable dating and companionship for you, and is it, enough?
Well, I think you also have to look at what type of a partner you are. And people are going to think I'm mean, but it's point blank. Are you the type of partner that needs your partner by your back and side every moment that you're not working?
Or would you appreciate
my own TV dinner?
Yeah. Or would you appreciate some more time alone?
Exactly.
And enjoying your time together. So 5 to 9. If you can overlap that 5 to 9, at some point,
right.
Or you've got 7 to 9 conceivably on the weekends. And you can go out frequently enough and get the emotional support and interactions that you need to make you happy, then yeah, it can totally work.
Right. My other part of this is get out of your head. Like, I've lived midnights most of our dating relationship. And actually, I was up during the day. Was it yesterday or is it? Yeah, it was yesterday. So I woke up and was up during his time. It drove him crazy.
It did not drive me crazy.
You abandoned the office.
Well, I was busy scrolling for rhododendrons.
Then told you it's roses.
I thought it was rhododendrons.
No, roses. Lincoln roses. They're very expensive. Nobody wants to disturb them.
Yes, I know, but rhododendrons are a protected flower and an endangered species in the state of West Virginia, and digging one of them up is illegal.
True.
Hence, I was scrolling for rhododendrons.
Right. And that's understandable, but, the point being there is you can make anything work. The question is, however, if you want to.
Well, and not only is it, do you want to, it's also like what actually does work for you. We have a lot of supposed to, ought to, maybe, shoulds that society tells us we're supposed to want.
Right.
And not everyone needs them. And sometimes you can get yourself in more trouble trying to follow it. Now, is there some practical commonalities in which a lot of people enjoy the same thing?
Right.
And have similar expectations of what a relationship looks like that this feeds into? Absolutely. There's a number of people that will live perfectly and happily in that. It's not for everyone. Right. And sometimes you have to figure out which one you are.
Right.
And sometimes it doesn't matter. So you do have to be willing to talk through it. Sometimes you do have to be willing to make some compromises. And maybe a 9 p.m. bedtime, you might have to find a way to slide every once in a while.
Right.
They may also have to give up something as well.
Right. Negotiate.
And that's how it works.
Right. All right. Let's check out that asshole poll. Damn it.
Oh, we're on different sides of this one? I thought we were on the same side.
No, you are not the asshole.
Okay. Not the asshole. That's where I was. Oh, Shannon, Lincoln roses smell like black pepper to me. Interesting. I don't know that I know what black roses or Lincoln roses smell like.
Have you walked out our front door?
I have. I have never smelled black pepper when I walked up.
Each side of the steps.
Okay.
The roses you got last year when I brought roses in
Okay.
were Lincoln roses.
Okay. Because I thought they were just pretty.
I know. They are double-headed Lincoln roses. I am looking for the Kennedy rose.
Oh, nice.
To add to my collection next year. And I may try to also get the Roosevelts, but they're very hard to find and they're picky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roses. Like, that's where I'm at with it. So Brenda enjoyed the additional time on my own when my ex and I worked opposite shifts.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, that's a really good thing.
Right.
For other people, it's a total disaster.
Right.
And I've generally found it also kind of coincides with how codependent are two people in a relationship.
Right.
Like, who's the codependent one and who needs codependency?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that can be a functional relationship. It's not necessarily always the healthiest, but it is functional.
Right.
But yes, for a lot of people, that time apart is everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Plus, I will say it also, when it unexpectedly changes, sometimes, and like it did this week, for me, it was more so like, I have a system. This isn't it.
Yeah.
So, just. All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Brenda, Joan Owen, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Caitlin Bell, Devin, Bella, and Maria Meyer. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
Yes. All right.
I'm an Aquarius. Love time without people. I can understand. Shannon says, I'm a cat. Give me 2 minutes of attention, then leave me the hell alone. I'm a Virgo. People are exhausting.
Exactly. All right, guys. We will see you on Sunday at 6 p.m. Remember, we are doing our setup for December.
No, we're not. We're doing our setup for November.
Yes. November. Sorry. We'll do the setup for November. I am a month ahead already. I've released my marketing tool to Joe. You guys are going to be getting some more different emails, different content. Hopefully it will encourage you to find different informations. So we will be back 6 p.m.
Sunday. Yes.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.